Hello and welcome to Cosmos Theory for Sleep. Before we start, if you find comfort in exploring the vast universe, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This way, you can continue to drift with us through the mysteries of the cosmos. Now, let's begin tonight's deep dive into one of the most intriguing thought experiments. What if the moon disappeared? What if the moon disappeared? Imagine, for a moment, that the moon, our silent companion, the glowing orb we've always seen in the sky, suddenly vanishes. What would happen? How would life on Earth change? How would we, as humans, experience a world without the moon? The moon is far more than just a celestial object hanging in the sky. It's been a constant presence in our lives for eons, influencing everything from the oceans to the very structure of our time. Its gravitational pull shapes our tides, and its glow has inspired countless myths, stories, and scientific inquiries. Tonight, let's explore the potential consequences of a world where the moon no longer exists. The tides, the pulse of the Earth. One of the most obvious changes in a world without the moon would be the tides. As many of us know, the moon's gravitational pull is responsible for creating the tides on Earth. The ocean's waters bulge as the moon's gravity tugs on them, causing high tides on the side of Earth closest to the moon and on the opposite side as well. Without the moon, we would still experience tides, but they would be much weaker. The sun does exert some gravitational pull on Earth's oceans, but because it is much farther away, its effects on the tides are far less significant. The sun's tidal forces would only account for about 1/3 of the tidal effect that the moon currently causes. What would this mean for marine life? The loss of the moon would have a profound effect on marine ecosystems. Many species that live along the coasts depend on the changing tides to find food and reproduce. For example, fish and other marine creatures use the tides to move in and out of shallow waters where food is abundant. The moon's absence would disrupt this rhythm, leaving these species with no reliable cues for migration, feeding, or breeding. Some animals, like crabs, clams, and mussels, rely on the exposure and submersion caused by the tides to find food and create habitat. Intertidal zones, where the land meets the ocean, would also be drastically impacted. These zones are home to countless species that rely on tidal fluctuations to survive. Without the ebb and flow of the water, the rich diversity of life that these ecosystems support would face serious challenges. The absence of the moon's gravitational influence would create a new world for marine species to navigate, a world where their age-old habits of feeding and breeding no longer align with predictable tidal rhythms. In short, marine life would have to adapt to an environment with less predictable and weaker tides. Entire ecosystems could collapse, forcing marine life to find new patterns or adapt in unforeseen ways. The moon's influence on Earth's axial tilt. The moon's impact goes far beyond the tides. One of the most important roles the moon plays in Earth's life is its gravitational influence on the Earth's axial tilt. Earth is tilted at a 23.5-degree angle relative to the plane of its orbit around the sun. This tilt is what gives us our seasons, the variation in temperature throughout the year. But the moon's gravitational pull also stabilizes this tilt. Without the moon, Earth's tilt could wobble over time. This phenomenon, known as axial precession, could cause significant shifts in Earth's climate. Imagine a world where the Earth's tilt is no longer steady, causing the planet's weather patterns to change unpredictably. What would this mean for Earth's climate? In the long run, the loss of the moon would cause Earth's axial tilt to fluctuate. As the planet wobbled, different areas of Earth would be exposed to the sun at varying angles, causing extreme climatic shifts. Over thousands to millions of years, Earth might experience dramatic changes in temperature, creating unpredictable seasons. Some regions might experience prolonged periods of heat, while others could face ice ages. This instability could result in extreme weather patterns. Imagine how agriculture, migration, and ecosystems would be affected if Earth's seasons became unpredictable. Crops might no longer thrive in specific seasons, and animals could struggle to adapt to fluctuating climates. Whole ecosystems that depend on predictable cycles of warmth and cold might disappear, forcing life to evolve rapidly or face extinction. The loss of the moon's influence on time. The moon also plays a crucial role in our understanding of time. Ancient civilizations, from the Egyptians to the Mayans, based their calendars on the phases of the moon. The lunar cycle, from new moon to full moon, is about 29.5 days long. This cycle was used to mark months, seasons, and even important cultural events. Without the moon, months would no longer be linked to the lunar cycle. Human beings would need to reimagine the way we measure time. The solar calendar, which is based on Earth's orbit around the Sun, would likely become the primary method of organizing time. However, the loss of the moon would make our experience of time feel different. The months, which have been linked to the phases of the moon for millennia, would no longer feel like natural units of time. What would this mean for human culture? Without the moon's guidance, human cultures would have to rethink the way they observe time. Many festivals, holidays, and religious observances have been tied to the lunar cycle. In many ancient cultures, the full moon was seen as a time of completion and fulfillment, while the new moon symbolized new beginnings. These connections to the moon have shaped myths, rituals, and even agriculture. Without the moon, these connections would be broken. People would no longer plan their festivals, harvests, or significant life events around the lunar calendar. The passage of time would feel different. As we shift from a lunar calendar to a purely solar calendar, the very rhythm of our lives would change, perhaps creating a feeling of disconnection from the natural world. The moon has been a symbol of change, transition, and cycles in human culture. Its absence would leave a gap, a quiet void, in our understanding of time, leaving us to find new ways to relate to the natural rhythms that have guided us for thousands of years. The loss of the moon, a darker sky. One of the most noticeable changes in a world without the moon would be the night sky. The moon has been a constant presence in the sky, illuminating the night with its soft, silvery glow. Its light reflects off Earth's surface, allowing us to see the world even when the sun is no longer visible. Without the moon, the night sky would be darker. The absence of the moon would make the stars shine brighter, but the night would feel emptier. The moon has always been there, a constant, guiding presence. Without it, we would have to confront a vast, dark sky filled with distant stars but no familiar anchor to guide us through it. The psychological impact of a moonless sky. The psychological impact of losing the moon would likely be profound. Humans have been looking up at the moon for millennia. It has served as a source of inspiration, reflection, and hope. In literature, art, mythology, and even science, the moon has played a central role in how we understand our relationship with the universe. Without the moon, our connection to the night sky would feel less personal. The stars would still be there, but they would lack the comforting presence of the moon. Our stories, our myths, and our rituals would no longer carry the same meaning. The moon has always been a symbol of the feminine, of change, of time itself. Its absence would leave us with an empty space in the sky, one that would be hard to fill. Conclusion of Part 1. A world forever changed. The loss of the moon would have far-reaching effects, both scientifically and psychologically. From the tides to the climate, from our understanding of time to our cultural relationship with the cosmos, the absence of the moon would radically change life on Earth. We would find new ways to measure time, navigate, and relate to the stars, but the void left behind by the moon would always be felt. Its absence would leave a deep space in the sky, reminding us of the fragility of the cosmic balance that sustains life on Earth. Part 2. The long-term consequences of a moonless world. As we continue our journey through the hypothetical world without the moon, let's take a deeper look into the long-term implications. The disappearance of the moon would not just be a sudden inconvenience. It would set off a cascade of changes that would affect Earth's environment, our natural rhythms, and even our place in the universe. While some effects would be felt almost immediately, others would unfold gradually over millennia, reshaping the planet in subtle and dramatic ways. The gradual wobble, Earth's changing axis. One of the most profound consequences of losing the moon is the destabilization of Earth's axial tilt. As mentioned earlier, the moon plays a crucial role in stabilizing Earth's tilt, which is currently about 23.5 degrees. This tilt is what gives us the seasons, the gentle variation of climate throughout the year. Without the moon, this stabilizing force would disappear. What happens to Earth's axial tilt? Earth's axial tilt is not fixed. Over long periods of time, Earth's tilt can shift, causing significant changes in the planet's climate. The moon keeps Earth's tilt relatively constant, but without it, Earth's axis could wobble, much like a spinning top losing its balance. This wobble, known as axial precession, would cause Earth's tilt to vary over thousands of years, leading to dramatic climate shifts. For example, in one scenario, Earth's axis could shift dramatically, causing the poles to face different parts of the sun. As a result, some regions of Earth might experience extreme warming, while others could become frozen, triggering ice ages in certain regions and desertification in others. Imagine living on a planet where the seasons are unpredictable, and every few thousand years, the entire climate system goes through massive changes. How does this affect ecosystems? Ecosystems that rely on seasonal cycles, the migration of animals, the growth cycles of plants, and the delicate balance of habitats, would face unprecedented challenges. Species that depend on the stable seasons for reproduction and migration would have to adapt quickly or face extinction. If the planet's climate became erratic, many species might struggle to survive. Human life would also be affected. Agriculture, which relies heavily on predictable seasons, would face uncertainty. Farmers who depend on predictable weather patterns for planting and harvesting crops would be forced to adapt to an environment where the seasons were no longer reliable. The shifting oceans. What happens to the tides over time? While we've already discussed the loss of tidal forces caused by the disappearance of the moon, let's look into what the long-term effects on Earth's oceans might be. The moon's gravitational pull is not only responsible for daily tides, but it also influences the long-term movement of ocean currents. The long-term impact on ocean currents. Without the moon, ocean currents would likely change. Tides help move water around the planet, influencing ocean circulation patterns and climate systems. The moon's absence would reduce this process, leading to potential disruptions in the way ocean waters circulate around the globe. One of the most important systems affected by these currents is the global conveyor belt, a deep ocean circulation system that helps regulate the planet's climate. If the currents slowed or shifted due to the loss of tidal forces, it could lead to a breakdown in this system. This could have widespread consequences, including more extreme weather patterns, changes in sea levels, and shifts in the distribution of nutrients that sustain marine ecosystems. The gradual loss of these ocean currents would exacerbate the instability in Earth's climate systems. Areas that rely on oceanic circulation to maintain temperate climates might experience drastic cooling or warming, leading to more intense storms, rising sea levels, and unpredictable weather. Time itself, a new rhythm for the Earth. As we've seen earlier, the moon plays an essential role in how we measure time. Its 29.5-day cycle has long influenced our calendars, marked months, and inspired cultures to measure time in relation to its phases. The lunar cycle has become one of the most significant natural rhythms that humans have used to understand and organize their world. Without the moon, humans would lose that sense of rhythm and have to find new ways to track time. The impact on human timekeeping and calendars. Without the moon, Earth would still rotate on its axis once every 24 hours and orbit the Sun every 365.25 days. However, the absence of the moon cycle would make it harder to break up time in a way that feels natural. Months, which have traditionally been tied to the phases of the moon, would no longer align with the natural rhythm of life. People would likely adopt a purely solar calendar, dividing the year into 12 months based on the Earth's orbit around the Sun. However, these months would not have the same lunar connection that they do now. They would feel less tied to natural cycles of growth and decay, and the sense of time might feel less connected to nature. Many cultural and religious rituals that are based on the lunar cycle, such as the celebration of the full moon or the timing of harvest festivals, would lose their traditional significance. Festivals that mark specific times of the lunar year would need to be recalibrated or abandoned, creating a disconnect between humans and the natural cycles that the moon has long represented. The impact on sleep and human behavior. The moon has been linked to human behavior for centuries. Many cultures have noticed changes in human mood, sleep, and even mental health during the full moon. Some studies suggest that people tend to sleep less soundly during a full moon, experiencing lighter sleep or more vivid dreams. This could be due to the moon's effect on the gravitational pull and its potential influence on circadian rhythms. Without the moon, humans would lose this connection to the lunar cycle and sleep patterns might shift. Human circadian rhythms, which govern our internal biological clocks, are influenced by external cues like light. The moon's light, particularly during the full moon, has been thought to have an effect on how we perceive the night. Could sleep and human emotions change? In a world without the moon, sleep could become more regular, but there may also be a loss of the emotional connection to the night sky. The moon has long been a symbol of mystery, change, and growth. Its absence could create a sense of disconnection from the night itself. The nights might feel more sterile, less magical, and the rituals of moon gazing that many cultures have enjoyed for millennia would no longer be possible. For some, the psychological effects of the moon's absence might also extend to mental health. Without the familiar light of the moon, the quiet of the night sky could feel more isolating. People might miss the rhythmic comfort of the moon's cycle, a celestial guide that has accompanied humanity through the night since time immemorial. Cultural and spiritual loss. The moon as a symbol. Beyond the physical effects, the loss of the moon would also have profound cultural and spiritual consequences. For thousands of years, the moon has been a powerful symbol in religion, art, and philosophy. It is symbolic of feminine energy, intuition, cycles, and renewal. From the ancient Egyptians to the indigenous cultures of North America, the moon has been revered in countless spiritual practices. Without the moon, humankind's connection to the cosmos would be severed in a very real sense. We would no longer look to the moon as a source of comfort or mystery. The poetry, stories, and myths built around the moon would lose their symbolic meaning, leaving us to find new symbols to guide us in our search for meaning in the universe. The conclusion of Part 2. A world left behind. The world without the moon would be vastly different from the one we know. From the tides and climate to timekeeping, navigation, and human psychology, the moon's absence would create ripples throughout every system on Earth. Some effects would be immediate, while others would unfold over thousands of years, reshaping the planet and humanity's place within the cosmos. As we reflect on the absence of the moon, we're reminded of just how interconnected everything in the universe is. The moon has been our constant companion, and even its absence would be a cosmic reminder of the fragility and interdependence of the natural world. Part 3. A world without the moon, the unseen changes over time. As we continue to explore the impact of the moon's disappearance, we move beyond the immediate consequences and begin to consider the long-term changes that would unfold over centuries and millennia. While the effects we've discussed so far would be felt immediately, many of the most dramatic consequences would take longer to fully unfold. The gradual decline of Earth's stability. While the moon has a direct impact on the tides, climate, and time, its most subtle yet critical role lies in Earth's stability. The moon, through its gravitational pull, helps to stabilize Earth's tilt and orbital dynamics. Earth's axial tilt, which is responsible for the changing seasons, is kept relatively stable by the moon's influence. Without this stabilizing force, Earth's tilt would start to fluctuate. The slow wobble, Earth's changing tilt. Over long periods of time, the lack of the moon would cause Earth's axial tilt to become unstable. Earth's tilt would begin to wobble, much like a spinning top that loses its balance. This wobble would occur gradually, but over thousands to millions of years, it could lead to dramatic changes in Earth's climate. The wobbling axis would result in unpredictable climate shifts. Some regions might experience prolonged periods of heat or cold, while others might see more extreme changes in seasonality. This could lead to extreme weather droughts, storms, ice ages, and even the extinction of species that rely on the stable climate we have today. In particular, ecosystems that are finely tuned to the current seasons would struggle to survive in a constantly shifting climate. In time, Earth's weather patterns could become as erratic as those of planets like Mars or Venus, where extreme temperature differences make it difficult for life to exist as we know it. This would change the way humans live, how we build cities, grow food, and adapt to the planet's increasing instability. Impact on life and agriculture. The shifting climate would directly impact agriculture. Crops that rely on predictable seasons might not survive the changes in temperature and light. Farmers would be forced to constantly adjust to new environmental conditions, and crop failures would become more common. Entire agricultural systems would need to adapt to the new climate extremes or face collapse. The long-term shift in ecosystems could force plants and animals to evolve rapidly, adjusting to new temperatures, growing seasons, and living conditions. Humans would be affected as well, with cities and entire populations needing to adapt to an environment that is now subject to far more extreme fluctuations. The loss of the moon's stabilizing effect on the ocean. We have already discussed how the moon's absence would affect the tides, but the changes go deeper than just the daily rise and fall of the oceans. The moon-driven tidal forces also play a key role in shaping ocean currents, which help regulate Earth's climate by circulating warm and cold water around the planet. Disrupted ocean currents and global climate. The moon's influence on the Earth's oceans is part of a delicate dance that helps maintain a stable climate. The oceanic conveyor belt, which is responsible for the movement of water across the planet, relies on the moon's tidal forces to keep the oceans in motion. This circulation of water helps transfer heat from the equator to the poles, and without the moon's tidal effects, this process would be severely disrupted. As a result, the distribution of heat across the planet would change, leading to greater temperature extremes. The absence of the moon's pull would likely result in less efficient ocean circulation, meaning that heat would not be as evenly distributed, causing some areas to experience unusually cold temperatures while others become uncomfortably warm. This disruption of ocean currents could lead to drastic changes in weather patterns, including more extreme storms, droughts, and shifts in rainfall patterns. The absence of the moon could also influence sea levels, which might rise or fall unpredictably over time. The rise and fall of tides play a role in shaping coastlines, and without this tidal rhythm, we could see erosion or even submersion of certain coastal areas. Psychological effects of living in a moonless world. We've explored the environmental and physical effects of losing the moon, but let's now consider the psychological consequences. For millennia, the moon has been a guiding force in human culture and perception. It has represented everything from mystery to hope to completion. Entire myths, stories, and belief systems have been built around the moon's phases. It has guided everything from the timing of harvests to the rituals of life and death. A loss of connection with the night sky. The moon has been a central part of human culture, inspiring stories, poetry, and art for thousands of years. Its phases have marked time and connected humanity to the natural world. Without the moon, the night sky would feel empty, and the connection humans have with the stars would be altered. Psychologically, humans are deeply connected to the cycles of the moon. Full moons have long been associated with heightened energy, activity, and even emotions. In some cultures, the full moon has been thought to bring about a change in mood and behavior, making people more energized or restless. The loss of the moon would remove this regularity and could create a sense of disorientation or loneliness for some. How would humans adapt to a moonless night sky? The loss of the moon's glow would also change our emotional response to the night. Many people find comfort in the moon's soft light, which has historically illuminated the darkest nights. Without the moon, the night sky would feel colder, and the shadows cast by the moon would no longer be there to guide us. The loss of the moon's light might cause some people to feel more isolated or disconnected from the natural rhythms of the earth. Some might even feel that their connection to the cosmos, a relationship that has always been deeply embedded in human culture, is lost. The moon, with its quiet presence, has been a guiding force for human beings, offering a connection to something larger than ourselves. Its disappearance could create a psychological void, making the night sky feel less personal and less connected to humanity's long history with the cosmos. A new system of timekeeping, the moonless calendar. For thousands of years, the moon has been used to measure time. Ancient cultures built their calendars around the lunar cycle, using the phases of the moon to mark months and significant events. The disappearance of the moon would force humanity to adapt, reinventing the calendar without the moon. Without the moon, we would no longer have the familiar lunar months. Instead, humans would likely rely on the solar calendar, the cycle of the Earth around the sun. In this system, the year would still be divided into 12 months, but these months would be linked to the position of the Earth in its orbit around the sun rather than the phases of the moon. This system would provide a more predictable structure to time, but the connection to the natural world that the lunar cycle provides would be lost. Some people might experience a sense of loss, as the lunar cycle has been a central part of human existence for so long. We would have to create new methods of measuring the passing of time and find new ways to mark the seasons, holidays, and significant life events. A new relationship with the cosmos. The moon has been a central figure in how humans perceive the universe. It has acted as a bridge between the Earth and the stars, a guide in the night sky. Without it, humanity's relationship with the cosmos would change. We would look up at the stars without the moon, perhaps finding new ways to understand the vastness of space and our place within it. The stars would shine brighter. Without the moon's light, the stars would become more visible. Astronomers would rejoice at the chance to view the cosmos more clearly. Distant galaxies, nebulae, and planets would appear in sharp detail. However, without the moon as a constant guide, the night sky would feel empty. A vast, dark expanse where we would have to search for new constellations and new ways to relate to the universe. Conclusion of Part 3. A new world without the moon. A world without the moon would not just be a world without a night light. It would be a world forever changed. From the environmental shifts and psychological consequences to the long-term disruptions in the way we experience time, the absence of the moon would reshape humanity's connection to Earth and the cosmos. Yet, even in this changed world, life would adapt. New systems of time, new ways to measure and understand the seasons, and new ways of connecting with the universe would emerge. But the absence of the moon would always be felt, a silent reminder of how interconnected everything in the cosmos truly is. Part 4. The philosophical and long-term future of a moonless world. The moon, with its steady presence in the night sky, has always been more than just a scientific object. It has been a symbol, a source of wonder, and an anchor for human reflection. Its absence would not only change the physical environment but also alter the way we see our place in the universe. Let's explore how this fundamental shift could influence us in the long term and what philosophical implications arise from the loss of the moon. The end of natural rhythms. A disconnect from nature. Humans have always had a deep connection to the natural rhythms of the Earth. The moon has been an essential part of this rhythm, regulating the tides, marking the passing of months, and helping shape cultural and agricultural cycles. Its absence would leave us without this natural connection, forcing us to look for new ways to find meaning in the cycles of life. A world without natural rhythms. Without the moon's influence, we would no longer have the familiar lunar cycle to guide us. Months would be tied solely to the Earth's revolution around the sun, but the connection to the moon that has structured the year for so long would be lost. Even though we would continue to live by the solar calendar, the feeling of connection to the cosmos would diminish. We would be forced to create new markers for the passage of time, but they would never quite capture the natural beauty and mystery the moon has provided. In ancient cultures, the moon was seen as an emotional guide, tied to the cycles of life and death. The full moon symbolized completion and fulfillment, while the new moon symbolized new beginnings. These cycles were tied to birth, growth, and decay in the natural world, reflecting the inherent cycle of life on Earth. With the moon gone, humanity would lose an essential part of this cultural symbolism. The loss of symbolism. The moon as a cosmic mirror. Throughout history, the moon has been a symbolic figure, representing everything from feminine energy, intuition, and mysticism, to change, growth, and renewal. In mythology, literature, and even modern psychology, the moon has been a reflection of human life and nature's cycles. In many cultures, the moon has been associated with mystery, wisdom, and the unknown, offering a glimpse into the infinite. Reinventing the cosmos without the moon. The absence of the moon would leave a psychological void, not just in our physical relationship with the night sky, but in the way we see ourselves within the broader universe. The moon has always been there as a symbol of the feminine, intuition, and the cyclical nature of life. In its absence, humanity would be forced to find new symbols to represent these essential aspects of life. We may begin to turn our focus to the sun or the stars as new symbols of hope, renewal, and growth, but none would carry the same deep, universal resonance that the moon has held for centuries. For many, this would feel like the loss of a part of the cosmic mirror we use to understand ourselves and our relationship with the infinite universe. The moon has provided a personal connection to the night sky. Its absence would make the stars feel farther away and the night seem emptier. The changing nature of human reflection. The moon's constant cycle has helped human beings structure our reflections on time and existence. The lunar cycle mirrors many of the phases of life: childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age, as well as the cycles of growth, death, and rebirth. The full moon represents the culmination of a cycle, while the new moon symbolizes beginning again. Without the moon, we would lose the natural metaphor for these life stages. The lack of lunar symbolism would mean that humans no longer have a consistent celestial reference for these cycles. We might still celebrate the passage of time through annual celebrations, but the deep cultural associations that have existed for millennia would feel disconnected. Shifting spiritual practices and rituals. Across cultures, the moon has been central to rituals, religions, and spiritual practices. Many ceremonies and festivals are tied to lunar phases. The full moon is seen as a time for completion, spiritual growth, and renewal, while the new moon is often viewed as a moment for reflection and new beginnings. These rituals have helped human beings mark time, reconnect with nature, and reflect on life's cycles. Without the moon, humanity would need to find new ways to mark these sacred and spiritual moments. The lunar calendar has long been the framework around which these rituals have been structured, and without it, humans would face a sense of spiritual disorientation. The loss of the moon would create a spiritual void, forcing new rituals to emerge in response to this deep cosmic absence. A new understanding of the night sky, stars as guides. Without the moon, the night sky would become much darker, making the stars more prominent. The absence of the moon would allow us to observe the night sky in more detail. Stars, planets, and galaxies would become more visible to the naked eye. For astronomers, this would be an exciting development, as it would provide a clearer view of the universe. However, for the general public, this new reality would likely bring a sense of emptiness. The moon has always been the most dominant celestial body in our night sky. While we would still have stars, planets, and the vast expanse of the universe to explore, the moon's absence would make the cosmos feel less personal, more distant, and perhaps more alien. Finding a new source of guidance. The moon has long been used for navigation. Sailors and explorers have relied on the moon's phases to guide their journeys. Without the moon, we would lose one of the most reliable markers in the night sky. We would likely turn to stars and constellations for navigation, but there would be no single, constant point of reference like the moon. This would lead to a shift in how we view the cosmic map. While stars and planets would still be visible, the loss of the moon's pull would leave a void in our spiritual and practical connection to the sky. We would need to redefine our relationship with the night, as we lose the familiarity and guidance the moon once provided. The gradual rebuilding of a new rhythm. Over time, humanity would find ways to adapt to this new reality. New calendars would emerge, and new symbols would replace the moon's role in rituals, timekeeping, and navigation. We might turn to the sun or stars to mark the passage of time and guide our travels. Cultures would adjust, and over thousands of years, a new relationship with the cosmos would take shape. However, even as we adapt, the absence of the moon would always be felt. The moon was a celestial constant, an ever-present symbol in the night sky that reminded us of our connection to the greater universe. Without it, humanity would be left with a deeper awareness of how fragile the balance is between Earth and the cosmos. Conclusion of Part 4. Embracing the Void. The loss of the moon would be a monumental shift, not just scientifically, but psychologically, culturally, and spiritually. The moon has been humanity's cosmic companion, guiding us through time, marking our seasons, and influencing our behavior. Its absence would create a gap in our connection to the natural world, our sense of time, and our place in the universe. Yet, even in a moonless world, humanity would adapt. New systems would emerge to fill the void, and new symbols would replace the moon's ancient role in our lives. But the deep psychological and spiritual impact of its absence would remain. The moon, in its quiet, illuminating presence, has been our guide in the night, and its loss would remind us of the fragility of the natural balance that sustains us. Part 5. The Cosmic Shift: Understanding Earth Without the Moon. While we've examined the immediate and long-term changes caused by the absence of the moon, let's now explore the broader cosmic implications. What does the disappearance of a single celestial object mean for the universe and Earth's place in it? This shift would affect not just life on Earth, but the balance of cosmic forces that have allowed our planet to thrive. Earth's changing position in the solar system. The moon plays a significant role in Earth's interaction with the sun and the rest of the solar system. As mentioned before, the moon's gravitational pull has a stabilizing effect on Earth's axial tilt. Without the moon, Earth would be left vulnerable to more extreme axial wobble, which would affect the planet's overall climate, creating wild fluctuations in temperature. But what about Earth's position in the solar system? Would the absence of the moon change Earth's orbit around the sun? The answer is yes. The lack of the moon would gradually alter Earth's orbit over a very long period. A more unstable orbit. The moon's gravitational influence helps maintain the stability of Earth's orbit around the sun. Without the moon, Earth's orbit would become more elliptical, meaning Earth's distance from the sun would fluctuate more over time. This would lead to more extreme seasons and unpredictable climate changes. The moon helps to smooth out small variations in Earth's orbit, maintaining a relatively stable climate. If Earth's orbit became more elliptical, some parts of Earth would experience much hotter summers and colder winters, while other areas could face drastic temperature shifts. Over the long term, these changes could have a profound effect on human life, agriculture, and natural ecosystems. This would make survival more difficult, forcing humanity and other species to rapidly adapt to new climates. The disruption of the Earth-Moon-Sun relationship. Without the moon, Earth would lose its constant gravitational interaction with another celestial body. This disruption goes beyond just tidal forces and climate stability. The Earth-Moon-Sun system is a finely balanced trio that has shaped the very structure of life on Earth. The moon's gravitational pull helps Earth maintain its steady tilt, which in turn affects how the sun's energy is distributed across the planet. The loss of tidal forces on Earth's ecosystems. The absence of tidal forces would have cascading effects on both the marine and terrestrial ecosystems. The movement of ocean water, which distributes heat, nutrients, and oxygen throughout the oceans, would become less efficient. Tidal mixing also affects the migration patterns of many species of marine life, and this interaction is deeply tied to the evolution of oceanic food chains. Without the moon, the health of ocean ecosystems would face serious consequences, from changes in species distribution to alterations in the chemical composition of the oceans. Furthermore, Terrestrial ecosystems would no longer have the regular fluctuations of moisture, temperature, and atmospheric pressure that are partly influenced by the tidal effects on Earth. This might lead to more erratic weather patterns across land, further destabilizing ecosystems. Human adaptation, new technologies, new rhythms. Given the magnitude of these changes, humanity would have no choice but to adapt. But how would we adjust to a world without the moon? Reinventing timekeeping and navigation. As we discussed earlier, the absence of the moon would fundamentally change how humans measure time. The lunar cycle has been an essential part of the human experience for thousands of years. The moon's phases mark the passage of months, regulate agricultural cycles, and are embedded in cultural rituals and calendars. Without the moon, humans would need to create entirely new systems for tracking time. While the Earth's solar year remains unchanged, months would need to be defined by something other than the moon. One possibility is that the length of months would be standardized, possibly creating 12 months of 30 or 31 days, but this new system would lack the rhythmic connection to the natural world that the moon provided. New systems of navigation. In a world without the moon, navigation, particularly for seafaring peoples, would face dramatic changes. The moon's gravitational pull has historically been used in celestial navigation to calculate time and position. It is also an integral part of the tides, which influence the movement of ships. Without the moon, sailors and travelers would have to rely even more heavily on star-based navigation. The moon would no longer be available as a predictable reference point, making navigation more difficult. This would lead to innovations in new methods of timekeeping and positioning in the night sky, such as more reliance on celestial bodies like the stars and constellations. A new concept of the cosmos, the role of Earth in the universe. The moon has not only played a crucial role in shaping Earth's environment, but has also been a key player in shaping humanity's view of the universe. The presence of the moon in the sky has always provided a personal connection to the vastness of space. Its phases, its pull on the tides, and its ability to light up the night sky have made it a symbol for time, mystery, and cycles of life. The absence of a cosmic companion. In a world without the moon, Earth's place in the universe would feel more isolated. The moon has always been a companion in the night sky, a constant reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Its absence would leave a void that could make the vastness of space feel even more alien. Humans would still look to the stars and planets for guidance, but the moon has always been a more familiar and reachable object in the sky. Its absence could make the rest of the cosmos seem less accessible. In a world where we lose that anchor, we may begin to question our relationship with the universe and search for new ways to understand our place in the cosmos. Reconstructing culture and rituals without the moon. In addition to the physical and environmental shifts, the loss of the moon would have deep cultural consequences. The moon has been a central figure in myths, stories, and religious practices throughout history. It has represented everything from fertility and growth to completion and renewal. New cultural symbols for a moonless world. Without the moon, humanity would have to search for new symbols to represent the concepts that the moon has long embodied. These might emerge from the sun or stars, but none would have the same universal resonance that the moon has held across cultures for millennia. Human creativity and culture would adapt, but the deep connection to the moon that has shaped everything from our spiritual rituals to our understanding of time would be lost. New cultural rituals would emerge, but they would be built around solar cycles or the cycles of the planets rather than the familiar phases of the moon. This shift would fundamentally alter the way we connect to nature, time, and the universe. Conclusion of Part 5. the final shift embracing a new era. As we reflect on the immense changes that would come with a world without the moon, we are reminded of just how interconnected everything in the cosmos is. The moon has shaped Earth's tides, climate, and timekeeping, and it has also deeply influenced human culture, psychology, and our relationship with the cosmos. While life on Earth would adapt, the absence of the moon would leave a deep void, both in the natural world and in the human psyche. Over time, we would find new rhythms, new symbols, and new ways of navigating the night sky. But the loss of the moon would remind us of the fragility and complexity of the cosmic balance that has allowed life to thrive on Earth. As we adapt to this new world, we must remember that the universe is vast and ever-changing. Whether we look to the sun, the stars, or even the planets, we can find new connections to the cosmic whole. The absence of the moon would shift our relationship with the cosmos, but it would also inspire new ways to explore, understand, and reconnect with the universe. Part 6. Evolutionary Shifts in a Moonless World. As we've seen, the disappearance of the moon would have profound consequences for life on Earth. From the environmental to the cultural, the absence of the moon would not just affect the physical world, it would also trigger evolutionary changes. Life on Earth has been shaped by the regular rhythms of the moon, but without it, nature would find new ways to adapt and evolve. The evolution of marine life without tides. One of the most immediate consequences of the moon's disappearance is the loss of tides, which play a significant role in the ecosystems of the world's oceans. Tides have shaped marine species over millions of years, influencing migration, feeding patterns, and reproductive cycles. How marine life would adapt. Without the tidal rhythms, many marine species would face unprecedented challenges. For example, species like sea turtles, which rely on tidal cues for their nesting and hatching cycles, would have to find alternative ways to navigate the coastlines. These species and many others might experience a shift in habitat or even extinction if they cannot adapt quickly enough. The intertidal zone, which exists between high and low tides, is a crucial habitat for a variety of species, such as barnacles, crabs, and sea stars. With the moon gone, these ecosystems would be severely disrupted, and species that rely on the constant ebb and flow of the tides for food and shelter would struggle. Over time, new species might evolve to fill the gaps, adapting to the new, more stable coastal environments. In a moonless world, the oceans would evolve into more stable ecosystems, but they would look quite different from the rich, diverse systems we know today. The balance of life in the oceans would be shaken, and ecosystems would have to undergo a process of adaptation to new conditions. The evolution of terrestrial life, adapting to unpredictable seasons. On land, the moon's disappearance would lead to climatic shifts that would affect both plant and animal life. The wobbling tilt of Earth's axis would create unpredictable seasons. Some areas would become colder and others hotter. While life on Earth is adaptable, the erratic weather patterns could trigger rapid evolutionary responses in both plants and animals. How could plants adapt? Plants have evolved to take advantage of the predictable seasons. A warm spring followed by a hot summer, cooler autumn, and a cold winter. The moon has played a role in stabilizing the Earth's tilt, helping maintain the regularity of these seasons. Without the moon, plants would face the challenge of an unpredictable climate. Longer growing seasons might occur in some areas, while in others, frosts could arrive unpredictably, harming crops. Plants would have to evolve to adapt to more erratic weather patterns, potentially developing new growth cycles or resilient traits to withstand extreme temperatures. Some plants may evolve to bloom in response to temperature shifts, rather than relying on a stable, seasonal pattern. In the long term, we could see new plant species evolving that are better suited to handle these new environmental conditions. Perhaps faster-growing species or plants that are more resilient to rapid changes in temperature. How would animals adapt? Animals, too, would face new challenges. Migration patterns that rely on predictable seasons might have to be rethought. For example, birds that migrate based on the changing length of the days might struggle with the sudden unpredictability of Earth's axial tilt. Species that rely on specific temperature ranges for breeding would also face difficulties. Some might adapt by evolving new migratory patterns, while others might migrate less frequently, adapting to local changes in climate. Carnivores and herbivores that depend on seasonal food availability might evolve to adapt to longer or shorter growing seasons, and predator-prey dynamics could change as a result of disrupted migration and feeding cycles. In the long term, animal populations would shift, with new adaptive behaviors and traits emerging to fit the new conditions. Human evolution in a moonless world. Humans, like other species, would not be immune to these changes. The moon's absence would affect human culture, psychology, and survival in ways that would push our species to adapt. Adapting to new seasons and climate shifts. As we've discussed, the loss of the moon would result in unstable seasons and unpredictable weather. In a world with such changes, human survival would depend on innovation and adaptation. We would need to create new ways to deal with shifting growing seasons, possibly developing new agricultural techniques to deal with temperature fluctuations. Humans have always shown an incredible ability to adapt, from the development of agriculture to the use of technology for shelter and warmth. In this world, human societies would need to focus on creating more stable and resilient systems of food production, trade, and housing. Cities might be built to better withstand extreme temperatures, and clothing and shelter would evolve to handle the unpredictable seasons. Over time, human technology would likely evolve further to deal with the new climate extremes. Cultural and societal shifts in a moonless world. As we've discussed before, the moon has always been a significant symbol in human culture. It has represented time, mysticism, and the feminine, and it has been tied to cultural and spiritual practices worldwide. But without the moon, humans would need to find new ways to express these symbolic concepts. A shift in human perception of the cosmos. Without the moon to guide human perception of the night sky, we would likely turn more to the stars and planets for meaning. The starry sky would take on a new significance as we look to it for guidance and understanding. Ancient civilizations relied on the moon for their timekeeping and religious practices, but in the absence of the moon, these practices would shift. Religions and spiritual systems might evolve to focus more on the sun or the stars as celestial symbols of guidance, renewal, and life cycles. New rituals might emerge, but they would be rooted in the solar or stellar cycles, rather than the lunar cycle. How will human culture evolve without the moon? Human culture would evolve to replace the moon's significance with other celestial objects. The sun would likely take on more importance, perhaps as a symbol of life, rebirth, and power. Philosophers, poets, and artists would need to create new symbols to express the natural cycles that the moon once represented. As cultures adapt to the moon's absence, we might also see the emergence of new stories and myths to explain the changes in the night sky. In the same way that ancient humans created myths about the moon, new myths would arise to explain the mysteries of the cosmos without the moon's guiding presence. The deepening void, philosophical implications of a moonless universe. The disappearance of the moon would lead humanity to question its place in the cosmos. For thousands of years, the moon has been a symbol of our connection to the universe. an object that has been a constant companion in the night sky. Its absence would create a cosmic void, one that might make us feel more isolated in the vastness of the universe. Reconnecting with the cosmos, searching for new meaning. As humans look to the stars and planets for new symbols and understanding, we would likely find new ways to connect with the universe. The moon has always been a reminder that we are part of something far larger than ourselves, but without it, we would need to find new ways to grasp the enormity and wonder of the cosmos. Scientific exploration would take on a new significance. Humans would continue to reach out to space, but now, the absence of the moon would serve as a constant reminder of how fragile and interconnected everything in the universe truly is. Conclusion of Part 6: Humanity's New Dawn. The absence of the moon would mark the beginning of a new era, an era where humanity is forced to adapt to the new cosmic reality, both physically and philosophically. While the changes would be profound, they would also lead to new opportunities for growth, innovation, and discovery. We would find new ways to measure time, create culture, and reconnect with the universe. And in doing so, we would learn just how resilient and adaptive the human spirit truly is. Part 7: The Final Shift: Embracing Change and Building a New Future. As we explore the long-term future of a moonless Earth, we come to understand that although the moon's absence would bring significant challenges, humanity's ability to adapt would lead us into a new era. The absence of our lunar companion would force us to rethink our relationship with time, nature, and the cosmos, and ultimately, would open up new possibilities for human evolution and survival. Let's now examine how humanity would adapt to the absence of the moon in the far future, focusing on the philosophical reflections and resilience of the human spirit. A world reconstructed: humanity's path forward without the moon. In a world without the moon, humans would need to make significant adjustments in how we live. Agriculture, society, and even daily life would need to evolve to fit a new reality. The effects on climate, agriculture, and ecosystems would not be immediately felt, but over time, humankind would rise to meet these challenges with innovation and ingenuity, adapting to unstable seasons. As we've already seen, the loss of the moon's stabilizing effect on Earth's axial tilt would lead to unpredictable seasons and extreme climate shifts. Over time, humans would adapt their agricultural systems to these new challenges. Technology, from genetically engineered crops to advanced climate control methods, would likely take the forefront in this new world. For instance, in regions where longer summers or longer winters have become the norm, humans would develop modified farming practices that could withstand temperature fluctuations. The absence of stable seasons would force us to rethink everything from food production to urban planning. As agriculture becomes more technologically dependent, humans might begin cultivating food in more controlled environments. Vertical farms and climate-regulated greenhouses, designed to combat climate instability. This would transform food systems, possibly making global food distribution more resilient and adaptable. Technological advancements, from survival to innovation. As Earth's environment becomes less stable, technology would become humanity's most vital tool for survival. We would not only use technology to adapt to environmental changes, but also to understand and reshape the natural world. Artificial intelligence, climate engineering, and genetic modification could be used to address the effects of fluctuating seasons, changing temperatures, and unstable ecosystems. Humans would likely create new energy systems that are more resilient to environmental stressors, using solar power, geothermal energy, and advanced renewable technologies to maintain life in a world without the moon. Cities would be built to withstand extreme weather conditions, and our architecture would evolve to deal with climate extremes, including flood-resistant infrastructure in coastal cities and heat-resistant structures in desert areas. Human resilience would allow us to thrive, even in a world that no longer has the moon to guide us. A new cosmic perspective, shifting humanity's view of the universe. In the absence of the moon, humans would likely turn their attention to the stars and planets in the night sky. The moon has been a familiar companion in the cosmos, a constant object of mythology and scientific exploration. Its absence would create a void that might push us to look further into the universe, seeking new understanding and new meaning in the grand expanse of space. The stars, a new source of guidance. Without the moon, the stars would become our primary point of reference in the night sky. For centuries, humans have used the moon as a guide for time, navigation, and spiritual practices. Without it, the stars would take on a more significant role. People might start to study the stars more closely, mapping the night sky with greater detail, and learning how planetary alignments and star constellations could affect Earth's environment. We would start to understand the universe in new ways, looking at cosmic cycles and stellar events to guide us. Astronomers would focus their efforts on studying other moons in the solar system, trying to understand their role in their respective planetary systems. The loss of our moon could encourage humans to send missions to moons of other planets, such as Europa or Titan, in a search for new cosmic companions and understanding. The expansion of human consciousness and exploration. With the absence of the moon, human exploration of space would likely become more urgent. Mars, Venus, and the outer planets would become key targets for human settlement and exploration. The lack of the moon could act as a catalyst for the advancement of space technologies, encouraging us to develop new interplanetary travel methods. As humanity ventures farther into space, we would redefine our understanding of life and our place in the universe. The moon's absence would serve as a constant reminder of the fragility of our planet, pushing us to take our role in the cosmos more seriously. Human philosophy and the search for meaning in a moonless universe. With the moon no longer guiding us, humanity would inevitably turn inward and redefine our relationship with the universe. The absence of the moon would encourage philosophical reflection on our existence, time, and the vastness of space. The loss of symbolism, searching for new meaning. For centuries, the moon has symbolized many aspects of human life, from change to timekeeping to the cycle of life. Its absence would leave humans searching for new symbols to represent the cyclical nature of existence. Without the moon's clear phases, we would be forced to adapt and find new meanings in the sun, stars, or the Earth itself. In a moonless world, humans would likely develop new spiritual beliefs based on solar cycles or the exploration of distant worlds. We might find meaning in the stars, embracing cosmic wonder and philosophical contemplation as our new way of relating to the universe. Reinventing our connection to nature. Without the moon to anchor us, humans would reimagine our connection to the natural world. Instead of looking to the moon for guidance, we would look to the natural cycles of the Earth, the changing of the seasons, the growth of plants, and the life cycles of animals. The loss of the moon would force us to reconnect with the rhythms of Earth itself and find new ways to live in harmony with the environment. Humanity's spiritual and philosophical practices would evolve, adapting to the loss of the moon. New rituals would emerge to mark the changing seasons, celebrate life's cyclical nature, and help us cope with the uncertainty that would arise in a moonless world. The final conclusion: a new beginning without the moon. The absence of the moon would be a profound change for life on Earth. It would affect our environment, our cultures, and our place in the universe. However, it would not spell the end of humanity. In fact, Humanity's ability to adapt and innovate would allow us to rise to the challenges of a world without the moon. Over time, we would find new ways to measure time, create meaning, and navigate the cosmos. We would look to the stars, the sun, and other celestial bodies for guidance. And in doing so, we would forge a new connection with the universe, one that reflects our resilience and creativity. The moon's absence would remind us of the fragility of life and the ever-changing nature of existence. Yet, through human ingenuity, curiosity, and the desire to connect with something greater than ourselves, we would continue to explore, to create, and to adapt. The journey through a moonless world would be long and challenging, but it would also be an opportunity for humanity to embrace change, growth, and the infinite possibilities of the universe.